West Ham United take the trip up to Anfield, looking to get our second win at Anfield in 59 years. Of course, our last one coming in that famous 3-0 victory over the Reds back in 2015. I hope you are all well. This is the match preview for Liverpool versus West Ham. I don't like the term free hit, but I suppose you could associate this game as a free hit for the Hammers after a slightly frustrating and disappointing result on Sunday against Southampton. And of course, Liverpool coming off the back of what most pundits would say is an unexpected win over what seemed to be the unformidable Manchester City at the start of this season. Before we carry on, drop a like on the video, subscribe to West Ham Unofficial if you're new. Check out our channel sponsors, SRM Carver and Son, by clicking the link in the description down below. I'm joined by Paul, who's a Liverpool fan tonight. Paul, how are you?
I'm very well, Jake. And how is things with you?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Slightly nervous for this game. I don't get nervous for too many games, but you look straight away Liverpool home and away, Man City home and away in recent times, and of course Liverpool coming off the back of a superb victory over City at the weekend.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to be at Anfield on Sunday, and it was odd really because after all the cracking games we've seen over the last few years, everyone was thinking, "Oh, this." When I had friends saying, "Oh, this will be 4s and 5s," I just, this is Liverpool. I said, Man City very rarely do well. I think they collect 9 points out of the last 60 or something. So, and even more so with obviously Haaland and unbelievable form, but Kanate was injured, Matip was injured, and everyone said, "Oh, Gomez, they're gonna." Well, actually, he was probably, I think he was man of the match, and James Milner looked fantastic with Elliott just in front of him. It right back, they kept Foden out, and I think they deserved it. From the first minute, they were competitive, and again, as I said, at the end, there's another injury with Jota now out to after the World Cup, as well as Diaz, which is a disappointment. So let's get this thing called the World Cup on and forget that, and let's get the Premier League back wherever all the fans are interested in, because then hopefully Liverpool got a few players back and they can start competing. They're not winning the league this season. Liverpool, there's no doubt about that. I don't think any team apart from Man City can win the league. But they need to make sure they're in the top 4 really, because in starting off, Liverpool go West Ham, Nottingham Forest, Leeds. I'm not saying any games are easy, but after the Man City game, surely they should be picking up some points.
Yeah. Before we carry on, we're going to bring on a West Ham fan to back me up. Gary, how are you?
Evening, Jake. How are you?
Yeah, not bad at all. You were down there with us on Sunday. It was frustrating. What can you take off the back of that coming into this game?
Just as you said, Jake, one word is frustrated. Again, we set up with 5 at the back away to Southampton for some strange reason. The second we went to 4 at the back in the second half, it was just one-way traffic. Literally, we could have scored 2, 3, 4, and no one could deny we should have won that game. But I'm a bit worried about tomorrow. I think he'll probably set up with 5 at the back again, unfortunately, which will play Liverpool's hands. But he is tired a little bit. We've got a problem that Liverpool had last season when they had 4 centre-backs out, or the season before. We've got 4 centre-backs out, so we're going to struggle again to steal a decent team against Salah and Firmino and whoever else they play up front.
Yeah, that's definitely a concern. We've kind of done a Liverpool there, because we've got typically we've got 5 centre-backs, which should be enough for most teams at any stage of the season, and we've got a Gerd who's been out for the whole of the season. We've got Zuma, Dawson and Ogbonna, who are all doubts, and then we've got Kera that's left, who isn't really a centre-back, and we ended up, as you well know, Gary, with a back line of full-backs, and sometimes it's a back 5 just completely full of full-backs on Sunday, which is not a sight that any fan wants to see.
No, it was just too defensive, especially against Southampton. Their confidence was shot to pieces because they were literally hanging on in the second half. If we'd have started on the front foot, I mean, I've looked at the stats, Jake, but every single first half of the season we've been shocking. We really have been really poor. So if we start falling against Liverpool tomorrow, we're going to get absolutely murdered.
Yeah. Let's take some comments, see who we've got in the chat tonight. Phil, hope you are well. Sharky's in as well. Even everybody like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much, sir. John, hope you are well. Liverpool fan, hope you're keeping well, mate. DJ be in the house. Still think it's cold, Russ. Very, very cold at the moment. Hope you are, mate. Phil says Liverpool were up for it against City, especially with it being the biggest game in the league for the last 5 seasons. Did you have much hope going up there, Paul?
Yeah, because it is Anfield and it is Liverpool, and I said to the people I went up there with, I said, still look at the players on the pitch, the likes of Thiago and Firmino, in Alisson in goal, so Van Dijk, who's in 69 games and never lost at Anfield, and Andy Robertson, Fabinho as well. And you're looking at it in Jota, you think, well, actually, it's still class, and it's in Anfield. Obviously, you're playing a formidable Man City side, but it was about 15 minutes into the game. I said, I forgot De Bruyne was playing, because they literally played him fantastic. Because of the injuries and the fact that they say we're 1 or 2. Especially with Haaland playing, here we go. And notice the way that Elliott was just always dropping in front of Milner, with Foden. And yeah, I thought they would. I'm not saying they would win the game. I thought they would at least draw the game. And when Salah went for on the first one, I thought this is a 50-50 scores. But when he went for on the second one, I was convinced he would score, because he's such, in those positions, you love those players who are just calm, and he was fantastic, and he was great, and the fans were up for it. But of course, I think somebody just mentioned, it's the last 5 years it's been the biggest game. Obviously, Liverpool, they're not winning the league this season, so say it's a cup final. Well, they needed those 3 points, because they got to make sure they're in the top 4, and obviously Man City are out there, and there's 2 or 3 other teams who, to be honest with you, I'm not that impressed with. Your Chelsea's in your. I mean, Arsenal have been brilliant. They've won 9 games, but Chelsea and Tottenham, and I mean, they're catchable because they're not that good, are they? But fair play to Arsenal keeping up. But back to your question, yeah, I thought we might get something, but the win was a bit of a bonus the way things are going, because Liverpool conceding the first goal, and if it's like if you concede the first goal against Man City, that can be evil, 3s and 4s, but they didn't. So that's, you said about Gary saying about West Ham struggling, in the first half. That's what Liverpool been doing. I think it's like 80%, 8 out of the last 10 games, just conceding the first goal. This is Liverpool.
It's going to be an awful first half then.
Yeah, so we can't both concede the first goal tomorrow night.
I mean, a few people, Gary said, I'm just not going to bother watching the first half Wednesday night. I'm just going to watch the second half and see what happens.
But you're playing Liverpool, because they can keep conceding the first goal as well.
David Moyes has got a shocking record away to the big 4 teams, so he will set up defensively. But also, I think that the press have been, and everybody else has reported Liverpool's demise too much. I mean, they were 2 games away last season from being the greatest club side in the history of the world, in England, so we say. And there's going to be mental fatigue from that. So they started slowly. But as Paul says, they've got some great players there. So, Van Dijk, people say he's rubbish this season. Well, I'd have him tomorrow in a heart.
He was fantastic on Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. People say, what's his name? Trent Alexander-Arnold. Yeah, okay, he's a kid. He's 21, 22 years old, and he's played 60, 70 games a season for the last 3 years. He's going to have a dip in form. So these things happen. I think Liverpool got some very good players, and I agree with Paul that they'll certainly finish top 4. And it's always been a difficult game for us. So we've won there 199 years. It feels like it anyway.
Yeah. So it's odd, isn't it? How some teams have got just certain horrendous records against other teams, and how it goes. But so you be happy. You take a point then. So your season at the moment is. So I must admit, I don't know enough about West Ham, but you mentioned all of these injuries at the back. That's the problem. It's not just injuries; it's all in the same area of the pitch. Is that correct? Exactly the
problem. We got Cornet injured, who's a forward, but other than that, they're all centre backs. I mean, Jake and I have been in most of the away games, and we would say we're very lucky to lose at Forest. Any other day we'd have won something there. We won at Chelsea again. We were robbed that ridiculous VAR decision in the last minute. We should have got a draw there. Everton, I thought we were poor, and then Southampton, I think we should have won that one. So And also, if you look at the last 3 seasons we've been to Anfield, I think it's been 3-2, 2-1, and 1-0.
Yeah.
It's been close.
Yeah.
It's been really
Very
close.
close.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm doing Moyes a disservice. He certainly got some points off Liverpool at home. We won last season. I think we drew 2 years ago as well. So I think it could be close. But I'm just a bit concerned with the centre backs, as you say, Paul, to have 4 injuries in the same position.
Horrible.
I think it's going to be. I think it's worrying because David Moyes did his press conference today, and I do often say to opposition fans, don't take the notice of what Moyes says in his pre-match press conference because he could just be spouting rubbish that he does quite often. But it is quite worrying if true that he said, yeah, Dawson and Zuma, they aren't really they haven't really made as much progress as he'd liked and probably not going to be available, which means we're going to probably have to start again with Johnson and Kehrer, and they were bullied by Che Adams, especially in the first half on Sunday, and that just doesn't bode well where you've got whoever coming from the right, whoever coming from the left, Salah coming down the middle, Nunes off the bench or wherever he plays, and it doesn't bode well. But let's just take some comments. Haaland is no Schumacher. He's certainly not. James, hope you are well. Haaland has posters of Schumacher in his bedroom. Well, that's an exclusive. We haven't quite obtained the pictures, but we do have an exclusive on that one. Super Scotty Venn, I hope you are well, sir. Scott says none of this 5 at the back rubbish I beg tomorrow. Yeah, I think we are. I think we're setting up for failure if we set up with 5 at the back. He probably is going to, but did your SCB? It's not cold. Just can't put the heating on us. So I'll need a second mortgage. Fair enough, Russ. Let's scroll down. Indian summer. It's fine. There's a jet stream, which means we'll have some warm weather for the rest of the week. So those raising. Well, thank you very much, weather reporter. You've got many talents indeed. Joan, I hope you are well. A lineup from Scott: Fabianski, Creswell, Dawson, Zuma, Johnson, Rice, Downs, Paqueta, Benrahma, Skamaka, and Bowen. Tell you what, if I see that tomorrow night, I will breathe a huge sigh of relief. I really would. Dawson Zuma would be a dream. Starting Downs would be a dream. Seeing Skamaka, Paqueta, Benrahma, and Bowen. I think we've got a chance if we put that lineup out, but I find that incredibly unlikely, Gary.
Me too. I think, unfortunately, there's a severe injury doubts on Dawson and Zuma for a start. He won't put Downs unless Souček's lost a leg. So I think that's just the way it goes. I mean, Paul, if I can ask you a question, Paul. Where do you think West Ham should attack Liverpool? Where do you think your areas of weakness are?
It's how Liverpool going to play. I think because of Diaz being injured, because of Jota being injured, the chances are he will play the 3, Firmino, Nunes and Salah. Well, Firmino will generally play through the middle. On the left-hand side, they're playing Nunes. A little bit the position he played when he came on against Man City. He was absolutely unbelievable, but he had the one opportunity when he should have passed to Salah. He's through. It was a horrendous decision by him, but obviously desperate to score. But when we heard Konate wasn't playing, you think, oh, Matip's not playing, Konate's not playing. Haaland is so powerful in the air, and you think, oh, but we have Gomez has not been impressive this season. But I was going into the game, so you never beat Joe Gomez, and we were shouting at the end because he was absolutely fantastic. But maybe James Milner at right back. But again, if he's got the cover like he did at the weekend, then he may be just fine. But because Trent was meant to be out for a couple of weeks, but he was on the bench and he came on against City, so he may well start. But everyone seems to be targeting that sort of that position, and I think you would probably be the same. Wouldn't you say, well, okay, if Trent's going to go forward, Liverpool doubt, they've had doubts at the back this season. They conceded lots of goals, not at the weekend, but that may well be the position because they're still going to play high. Where's your pace come from? Do you have these bombing, or are you going to struggle there? Because Liverpool will play that high line. They will give you chances if you've got the players to exploit it.
Yeah, we ain't got no pace.
Pace is not our forte, I'm afraid. Bowen's semi-quick sometimes. Benrahma's semi-quick sometimes, but nothing extraordinary.
No, I mean, I hope for being a Liverpool fan, we don't think, oh, it's so impressive against Man City, and then a step off against West Ham. You can hear it, you can read it, can't you? And see, well, you hoping you can read that. They've fallen off again. In hopefully not. Hopefully they play with the same intensity because they've got to get a few run of games going. But I think in midfield they might play. I mean, they might rest Thiago. They might play Henderson and Fabinho. They might play maybe Elliott and Carvalho. and then maybe Salah and Nunes up front, more like the 4-4-2. But there were a few injuries, especially as you say to Diaz and Jota. It limits him a little bit. But
yeah, I think that's key there. And we've got Diaz and Jota, who are two players, and Diaz has certainly impressed when he's played so far at the start of the season. But you still look at it and go, oh yeah, we're probably gonna start Salah and Nunes up front. That's scary in itself, Gary Liverpool.
Yeah, I think that's Nunes. He's got everything there, and he's very raw, and he needs to. And I think this is it. He was desperate to score against City, and obviously his head went a little bit, but he just ran them ragged. He done more in that game than Haaland did because the game opened up. As soon as the goals goes in, it's a completely different game. Obviously, City are desperate to score, and he was knocking the ball over the top. Well, you're not going to play like that, are you? You're not going to be given space in behind for Nunes to run into. But he is 6'3". He is powerful in the air, and perhaps you're saying you're lacking on height at centre backs.
Well, yeah, that could be a massive issue, Gary.
You could, yeah. I mean, Kera, I don't know how tall he is, Jake, but he's certainly not as tall as Dawson Zima for sure fact. Ben Johnson is about 6 foot. So if Nunes is 6'3", we are in a bit of trouble. Trying to think, Souček maybe pick him up at corners, but we have lost a lot of height, and you could tell on Sunday actually because we had 14 corners. And normally we're quite potent at corners, but we really weren't at all.
We didn't look a threat in more than 2 or 3 of them.
No, exactly. Normally you think the big guys coming out. You got Declan, you got Zuma, you got Dawson, you got Souček. There's 4 or 5 of them to watch, but on Sunday wasn't happening, Jake, was it? This wasn't happening.
No, it was non-existent, and I think that was probably a reason why Souček was involved, just for his height, because we had no other height in the whole team. And do you think, honestly, that Moyes may look at starting Downs because Souček started on Wednesday, on Sunday? Well, he played poorly again. Any chance in the world, Gary?
He's got his favourites, as you know. He's got his favourites. I'm afraid it's like a man.
You don't see him budging.
He's like there's some sort of illicit affair going on between Moyes and Souček that we don't know about until that's over. It's going to be Downs and Benrahma always the victims, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Again, I thought when Benrahma came on, I thought he changed the game.
He did.
He ran at them. He attacked. I'd like to see him go at Milner on tomorrow. That'd be really nice to see that happening. I thought Declan played really well. He seems to be coming back into form, and that's a key area for us tomorrow. If he can control the midfield like he did on Sunday, I know it's against Liverpool, not Southampton, but I thought he ran the game in the second half. Jake, I don't know what you thought.
Yeah,
he was superb.
Has he been your best player again this season?
Not starting with, but he's coming back into form. I think he's him and Bowen a little bit off form to start with, but he never gives less than 6 or 7. Declan, he never has a bad game, but he hasn't been to the levels we used to. We're very spoiled with him, to be honest. He's always excellent, and if he's not excellent, we just say, "Oh, Declan just is all right today."
Yeah, you missed
7 out of 10 is a really poor performance for him. We say.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And Benrahma was the best player to start with. He started a few games on fire, and then since then, I like Kera. I think he's done well. Scamacca's coming into form. He's getting better by the game, Scamacca. So interesting to watch him tomorrow. How he goes against Van Dijk and that'll be interesting.
A couple of kind of fundamentals to take out of it from our lineup. Then Fornals, I think, will start this game. He loves to go against Liverpool. I think he scored in 2 out of the last 3 trips to Anfield. I'd expect it. I want it to be Downs in midfield, but I don't know. Paqueta, I think Joe mentioned it here. Is Paqueta okay? How's his shoulder? I hope he's fit. That was quite strange because he went in for it and he lost it and he just kept going like he couldn't seem to move. Hopefully he's okay. If not, then Benrahma's got to start. I didn't think Paqueta was brilliant on Sunday, but he probably is going to start if he's fit. But I just want to fit Benrahma in there somewhere because we looked so negative on Sunday and we didn't even look like scoring, in that first half if we went on all day against Southampton. So no wonder against Liverpool. I think we've got to start Benrahma just for that bit of creativity because A, he's on form, B, we know he's going to bring it, and Paqueta just hasn't quite reached that yet. And get Scamacca some decent service, he's going to score goals. I think that's where it's coming from. If we give Scamacca that service, he is going to score. Whereas that's what we haven't had in previous trips to Anfield, Paul. Last year we we went up there, we squandered so many chances with a
Yes.
weakened side. We've got Skamaka in there now. Go on.
Do you? I know it's important for every game, and we said about it earlier on. How this first goal on tomorrow, if you concede in, say, the first 15 minutes, is this going to be? Could this be horrible?
It's going to be a long night. It's going to be a long night.
Yeah,
I think so. You say that, Jake, and I do tend to agree. But touch wood, under David Moyes, we don't get beaten by very many. We
haven't really crumbled yet under Moyes in a second spell at all, have we?
We lose by 1 or 2. I can't remember anyone beat us by 3 goals, Jake. Can you?
No, neither can I.
No, you could. I mean, if you get the VAR decisions that Arsenal get, like they did when Liverpool went up there, then you never know.
Like a Liverpool fan.
I mean, Jesus. I mean, you never know. No, it's Liverpool they've got to win, and the longer the game goes on, the more open it's going to be. They cannot afford to be dropping any more. I mean, Klopp knows they're not winning any league, like we said earlier on, but they've just got to start mounting some points. Run the players into the ground, and then if they're not, if they need a rest during the World Cup, don't worry about that. You know what I mean? It's all about after the World Cup. So, have you got many players going away for the World Cup? Are you going to be losing loads? Does that worry you?
Yeah, it's a concern because we certainly got more now than we would 3 years ago. I mean, we've got Emerson that'll go off to Italy, Skamaka will go to Italy, Rice to England, Bowen perhaps to England. I'm sure Zuma will go. Kara to Germany. Who else are we missing?
Bornay going? Is Ivory Coast qualified? I don't know.
I'm not sure. I don't know if the Czech Republic have qualified. They haven't. So Souček and Soufal will stay. But yeah, we've got a fair few, and Paqueta will go to Brazil as well. So we've got a fair few going, as have any decent side. We've got some decent players, and apart from Man City with Haaland, who's going to have a nice 6 week break.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, well, Salah in Egypt being qualified, didn't they? So this is
of course,
that's okay. Yeah. But when I say hope for the World Cup, I just hope it's he might miss the World Cup. Yeah, let him miss the World Cup. Let him come back all fit after. That's the most important thing. Forget the World Cup. But,
let's take some more of your comments, Lawrence. I hope you are well. Kent, hope you are, mate. Come on, keep the faith. Indeed, Areola in goal for me. I wouldn't be at all surprised. I think we might see an Areola. We've been counting down the games. When's Areola going to come in? I wouldn't be surprised if Areola starts and we're sat here tomorrow night, 23 hours time, by saying Areola's in goal. I've just got a feeling.
Why did you say that? Why did you say that, Jay?
I don't know. Fabianski's made a couple of questionable decisions in the last couple of weeks. Some people have said he should have saved them. Some people have said he couldn't have done too much about it. He started on Sunday. I know they don't get fatigued, but I've just got a feeling that we might see the inclusion of Areola, and I think he might just try him in one of these midweek games. I'm not sure. I think this game might be the one. Gary?
I don't want to disagree with you, Jake, but I do disagree with you. I think out of all the games Fabianski played this season, I thought he actually had a good game Sunday. He made a couple of crucial saves in the first half. But I agree with you, Areola's a better keeper. But I think he's just trying to wring the last few months out of Fabianski because he knows age is catching up with Fabianski. And at some point, he's going to have to be swapped over with Areola. But I think he did well, Fabianski, on Sunday. So if I was him, I'd expect to play because he made a couple of really good saves against Adams in the first half.
Yeah, he did.
The second half, smoking a cigar in a deck chair, but that's different.
Yeah, he did. Which, of course, I've got Italy not even in the flipping World Cup, are they? So Skamaka and Emerson aren't going anywhere. That's so strange, honestly. Win the Euros and then North Macedonia knock them out of the
last time either, did they?
No.
That is old, isn't it?
That would frustrate me.
Yeah.
I think overall, in Kent puts the Paqueta chant in there, and the only way I think we're going to get something out of this is I think we're going to see some brilliance, whether it comes from Benrahma, whether it comes from Paqueta, maybe Rice or whoever. We're going to see some brilliance tomorrow if we're going to get anything out of it. I think it's going to be ugly, but I think we're going to see somebody pull something out of the bag because I just can't see us breaking down and scoring many past Liverpool, Gary.
This is what I like about Skamaka, though, Jake. With Antonio up front, he has to score the penalty box. I think he scored all his goals, I think, in the Premier League in the penalty box. But Skamaka can belt with from 25 yards. He's done it twice already for us this season outside the box. So, he's something different. So I think, it's Liverpool are a tough team. You're not going to get many chances. When you get there, you've got to take them.
Well,
So,
we certainly have. We certainly
yeah.
have. I was on a Liverpool channel last night, Paul, and they just kind of said, yeah, it was brilliant that we beat City, but it counts for nothing if we slip up
Absolutely.
against West Ham.
Absolutely. I said earlier, you know, West Ham, Forest, and Leeds 2 at home. They've got to be thinking 9 points whether they get them is another thing, because that's the way it's gone. I mean, some of the performances, Brighton were fantastic, but within a few, they're 2 down. I mean, it just feels like you can't just keep, you know, Liverpool a couple of years ago, didn't matter if they weren't when they were down, because they always, you know, had that amazing record, still winning those games, but because they've been slightly off. You know, and then you're drawing this games. It's not the losses in the season; it's the drawn games. You know, they're the killers. You know, that's the thing. They just Liverpool have to. You know, it's going to be open, because the longer this game goes on, if it is 0-0, like I said, because both teams, they don't seem to start very well. So the longer it goes on, it's going to get more and more open, because they have to win this game. The draw is no good, so we will see. I think it could be anything tomorrow. Honestly, I would not. You know, you think normally when you think of a game, a score pops in your head. Oh yeah, it's going to be that. I've got absolutely no idea. Absolutely no idea.
It could go. You know, we could pull something out of the bag, or we could see the perhaps obvious Liverpool win.
Yeah, it could be anything, couldn't it? Could be anything.
Yeah. Let's take some more of your comments. I would love to see Down start, but he won't start. And there's more chance of West Ham finishing in the top 4 than Down starting tomorrow. I'd go even further and say more chance to win the league as an Invincible than Downs to start tomorrow. Well, Phil, if he does start tomorrow,
yeah.
Now
Where
that
does
would
he
be
play then?
He's centre mid.
Centre midfield, but Souček and Moyes have got like a little love affair.
Oh, so that's not happening then.
No, it's not. But Benrahma absolutely tore Trent a new one at the London Stadium last season, and I think this could tweak what Moyes is doing here, because he could go, I'm not going to play 4 now, like that, because he's not going to cause Trent as much problems as perhaps a Benrahma would, or even chuck Antonio out on the wing. We know that Scamacca's going to start in the middle. Antonio came on for just 10 minutes in the end, 82nd minute. I think he came on Sunday. Chuck Antonio out on the wing, because he's the only player we've got currently in our squad that's fit, that's got pace.
Yeah.
Let's just chuck him out there and let's see what he does, and you know, just bump Trent to the side a bit, and you know, just tell him he's there. I mean, Trossard put him on his backside a few weeks ago. He could cause him some nightmares there, Gary. What do you think he'll do corresponding to that?
He won't play him, but I agree with you, Jake. The thing with Antonio is we all know he's got no idea what he's doing. So the rest of the opposition have got no chance either. And he's got pace and he's got strength. So you've got it's like having a 7-year-old with an AK-47 with Antonio, because he's running around. No one's got any clue at all what he's going to do. But he's so strong, and occasionally he'll do something brilliant. So, you know, I love watching him play when he's on form. And if he's on form, he will terrorise Trent Alexander or Milner, whoever plays. But he won't play, unfortunately. We'll stick him on the bench and probably play 4 hours, unfortunately. But I would start Benrahma and Antonio, because Benny's in form and Antonio's the wild card.
Yeah, I think he is. Paul, do you think that Trent is the way to go, or is it, do you think, too much of the obvious option of looking at a couple of clips of it? What's your opinion on it?
Yeah, he's injured. I mean, he was injured. Matip got injured in obviously then Konate got injured during the game, and Diaz got injured, and I thought he was out for a few. We was amazed to see his name on the actual sheet. I knew he was substitute. He came on. Whether he risks him or said, "No, actually, you stay where you are." But I think there's a good chance he will play. And of course, he did score a free kick, I believe, at West Ham last season. But which is odd, because Liverpool seem to have an amazing record from set pieces. I think, what's all this about? Where do these goals come from? Because they haven't really got an out-and-out free kick. It's not like when you had Suarez or Gerrard taking free kicks, maybe from corners. I've not heard anything about Konate, who was, you know, because if they've got him playing, and you said about the height in the back, if they've got Van Dijk and Konate and Nunes, you know, 3 players who are 6'3". I mean, I like the idea of that, because in the Premier League, all the class, sometimes it just boils down to set pieces, doesn't it? It does. It's, you know, you can huff and puff, and then how do you win a game from a free kick or from a corner? And that's the thing that Man City have got a little, you know, with De Bruyne and Haaland, they've always got that, haven't they? If something isn't working, they've always got that. And So, but where does Trent play? How fit is he? He's fit enough to come off the bench. I know it was only for a few minutes. He might, but he might just start him on the bench. But yeah, it'd be fun. Be interested to see if Thiago plays. He might get rest him because I love watching him play. When I grow up, old enough to be a footballer, I want to play like Thiago and Alcantara because he's just such a wonderful player. I was watching him do it. He's just fantastic to watch. I don't think anyone plays football like Thiago. You know, when he gets the ball and he turns and you think, what happened there? And I love watching him play. I think he's fantastic. So it could be a long evening for Declan Rice and that. But then again, you might be thinking it could be the other way around.
Yeah.
And at what minute can we expect the first Mo Salah dive, Paul?
I would say, well, it's been quiet on that. I've not seen anything on that lately, have I? The thing is, he's not been in the boxes as much because he's been playing more as a winger, hasn't he? But I think in the middle, because of the injuries, will they play? I'm just thinking. I think Nunez would play. I think he plays on the left. Or would they say we're going to put Carvalho up front? Because of course Nunez has not only started about half the games this season. I know he got sent off, so whether that's a bit of punishment. But I think the front three and Salah on the right, running riot down there because he's not scoring the goals he has been, but that game on Sunday he was fantastic. He really, he's so strong, isn't he? He is so powerful for the size of him. So many occasions like myself, you just look after yourself and then you can still keep playing. Yeah, all right. But no, he doesn't dive, does he?
No, once every 5 minutes. Let's say. Let's take some more comments. Kent, I'm going tomorrow. Safe travels up there. Kent, make sure you bring back something with you, whether it's a pie or 3 points. I don't really mind. But a word of warning: the game's actually on Amazon Prime. If you haven't got Amazon Prime, just sign up, and then once the game's over, cancel it, and you can get your money back. Yeah. See, no Amazon memberships or sponsorships going to be happening here, but I've just gave you a hack. So if you're not gallivanting off to Merseyside tomorrow, then you can watch it on Amazon Prime. 7:30 kickoff, of course, because all the other timestamps have been stolen by BT and Sky and everywhere else. So it's a 7:30 start. It's a 8:15 start tonight. I think at Selhurst Park, which is just nobody's. Nobody wants that at all. But it is what it is, isn't it? If they pay the money, they're going to get it, aren't they? Scott says, get at Trent Alexander-Arnold. He can't defend. West Ham have hit some sort of form as of late. West Ham to nick it 1-0. I like the optimism. I really do. These games have been really tight in the past, and we went up to Liverpool last season hoping we weren't going to get smacked by more than 2 goals. Now, Gary, I think you came up for that one, and it was just. Declan Rice didn't play in that game.
Lanzini missed an absolute sitter, didn't he?
Right in front of us by about 3 yards. Somehow he managed still to hit it into that park, Yeah. somehow from about 3 yards out, he still missed it and skied it. We were without Rice in that game. We were weak. Or a weakened side. We weren't weak at all, and we held our own, and we should have won that game because if we would have taken 2 of our many chances, we would have won that game. So, and it's always been tight in the last few years, but we all know Liverpool have always got their battering in him as well. Look, he's come back in just to plug something. Here we go. Sign up via the Amazon Prime link in the West Ham Network Community tab. So Russ gets a few pennies so we can put the heating on. There we go. So we can take that hat off. But
I think the key is, Jake, as you said, we've got to take our chances. And on a Sunday, I read in the paper we had 25 shots and 14 corners,
I know we had 14 corners because I had about 14 corner clips on my vlog to edit, and I'm like, no, we did nothing in that one. Delete. Oh my god! But anyway, let's move on to some predictions. Then, Paul, I'll start with you.
I'm gonna go. I'll tell you what, I'm going all out. I'm going 4-1. I'm to Liverpool. I'm going 4-1. I'm going all in.
West Ham. Oh, I could see that.
Yeah. 4-1. Yeah, you say when the thing is with predicting scores, say if one team's winning with a couple of minutes to go, it can be anything. It was like at the weekend, wasn't it? All of a sudden, there's all these golden chances at the end because the game opens up. If Liverpool score early, I can see them. I was going to say 3. No, I'm going to go 4-1. You got to stay with your original thought, haven't you?
Yeah.
What about you, boys?
Gary?
Oh, you should never stand behind me in the bookies because I am the most claret and blue glasses man in the world. If we had a massive COVID outbreak and under 18s are playing against you away, I still fancy us to sneak a draw. So I'm going to go for 1-1.
1-1.
Oh, flipping hell.
Yes.
Taking my prediction, that's the biggest smile I've seen on Gary's face probably since we scored at Forest and then it was disallowed. No. Maybe when Gary got out all of his £50 notes from his pocket that were fake to chuck at Jesse. My prediction is 1-1, but we can't have the same prediction because that's boring. I'm not going to go 0-0. I don't think we're going to score 2 goals up there, but sod it. West Ham, Liverpool 2, West Ham United 2, Skamaka and Paqueta double with Ben Ramo to get an assist as well as Creswell to get an assist from a corner as well.
Oh, wow. So even though West Ham, you're saying, are struggling maybe to score, we're all going that they're going to score at least 1.
Yeah, we've scored in the last 3 games, so we are picking up a little bit of scoring. Yeah. But I think Skamaka's improving by game. So is Paqueta. Paqueta's very hit and miss. He's brilliant 1 minute and rubbish the next. So hopefully he'll start settling into more brilliance.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, Jake. We need Liverpool not to play at their best. And if they don't play at their best, we've got a chance.
Yeah, I think we do. Let's take some of your predictions. A draw is very comes up a lot here. 1-1. 0-0. Desmond says Kent's the same as me. Great minds think alike. But one thing we do know, it's an in-joke. Gary will get this, but Terry's not going, so it perhaps might not be a 1-0 Liverpool. If you get it, you get it. But anyway, Simon, good evening. Hope you are well. Apologies, I wasn't on the review show. Valid excuse that I was out for a Chinese with school. We've got to elaborate now, for goodness sake. You've been on here long enough to know that I don't just want, I had a Chinese. What did you have? Prawn crackers? Yes or no? Rice? What are we having? Come on, let's get it going. 3-2 says James. I like the optimism. 2-1 West Ham. Hopefully this is just I'd love that. I really would. But in terms of Amazon do some good coverage. Glad Amazon's doing the game. So to be fair, one day I think they will take over everything. But anyway, that's a debate for another day. It's on Amazon if you didn't know already. So yeah, just sign up if you haven't got it already and you can watch it. But let's go on to some final thoughts. Now, I haven't actually said this for quite a while, so I'm going to bring my favourite question of the preview show back. Gary, 10 minutes until kickoff. You're David Moyes, you're in there. Try your best Scottish accent. What are you saying 10 minutes before the game?
I can't do any accents, I'm afraid, but he will say something like, "Keep it tight at the back, boys, for the first 20 minutes.
Defend until the 85th, and then I'll bring you on, Benny."
Exactly. If you get to half time, it's 0-0. I might let someone have a shot in the second half.
Oh dear. And what do you think Klopp will be saying to his players? To be fair, he should be up in the stand, but that's a debate for another day, Paul.
Yes, yeah. I think you've said it more of Sunday. You've got to play as you've been playing the last 5 years. The press has got to be exactly on. You know what I mean? Because otherwise, you start sitting. It's a different game, and before you know it, half an hour's gone. Fans getting restless. 40 minutes to get in from the first minute, like they did on Sunday. Feed Nunez over the top if there's any room over the top. He will win balls. He'll be frustrating, but him and Salah, I'm sure they can just create. They're going to create mayhem. Hopefully, in the back for the Hammers. Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully not, because otherwise I think it's going to be a very long evening. But I've just, I've got my head saying, yeah, they probably will beat us, and if they score 1 early, I think they will go. But then I've got almost another part of my head saying, look, let's look at it before. They haven't beaten us convincingly for quite a while. We should have beat them away last year. We beat them at home. Pablo Fornals loves a go against them. I don't know why, so he's probably going to start. Could we get another Pablo Fornals going there? We've got some better quality than we had last year. We've got players that know how to put the ball in the back of the net, or Skamaka this year. I don't know.
Well, Liverpool's toughest game was against West Ham last year when you won 3-2.
Well, and we kind of denied you the Premier League trophy.
Yeah, that well, you could say that was their toughest game, Liverpool last season. They only lost a couple, and that was it. So they'd be very wary of them. I don't think Klopp takes any team lightly, and I wouldn't be surprised if if Elliot and Carvalho played the two youngsters. I wouldn't be surprised if they both play, maybe either side of the midfield.
Rotation could be key for tired legs. You played R4, we played 2:00 on Sunday. It's a quick turnaround. We've got to travel up there, so there will be some tired legs up there eventually from both sides, I think. But Kent's final words to the team would be: get out there, lads, and silence this overrated Sky loving atmosphere. Well, there we go. Was it anywhere near as hyped up as it should be on Sunday, Paul?
Yeah, it was fantastic. It's always nice. I mean, we always say about the atmosphere in these big stadiums. Well, it's not always the case, as you know, unless you're going to win the league. At the end of the day, when Liverpool playing United or they're playing Everton or they're playing Man City, you're going to get the atmosphere of the big European nights. But we all know that, no disrespect to some of the other clubs, when they're playing those, it can be a little bit flat. Like, entertain us. We need you to entertain us. And
we've seen it for about a season at London Stadium.
Yeah, we're not going to. And then as soon they need something, but when it's certain teams, then they're on it from the first minute. So it was. I mean, it was fantastic there, but they've got to carry that on. Underneath the floodlights there at Anfield Road on tomorrow evening.
And the final word, Gary, goes to you. And my question is, if we do pick up something in a historic result at Anfield, what will Klopp moan about?
Oh my goodness! In order, in order. No, he moans. He moans about everything. He'll moan about. Let's think.
The penalty.
I think he'll moan about the floodlights. I've got penalty. A floodlight. He'll moan
never a penalty. You moan about your penalty.
Or it should have been a penalty, or someone handled it 50 yards before the ball went in.
Yeah, it'd be something like that.
The goalkeeper was unsighted because some bloke in the stand put his coat phone up to take a picture, something like that.
Really balloon on the pitch like Sheffield United that time.
Yeah.
Or maybe, I don't know if you saw it on Sunday, Gary. Maybe we've got the wild pigeon that was with us on the pitch on Sunday at Southampton in the way.
Exactly. The goal's too small. That's the latest thing. Or is it too big nowadays?
Goal's too big. Goal's too small. The grass is too high. The grass is too low. The floodlights are too bright.
Well, he's a perfectionist, Jake. He's a perfectionist. He's won it all, hasn't he?
Yeah, something like that. Thank you very much for watching. This has been the match preview for Liverpool versus West Ham. We will be back at 6:15 tomorrow evening for the lineup reaction and build-up show. Building up and I think it's a big lineup announcement tomorrow at 6:30 for David Moyes, because will he park the bus or will he surprise us and go for it? Tune in a West Ham unofficial tomorrow. If you're a member, check out the Matchday Natter tomorrow morning. And yeah, Gary, Paul, thank you very much indeed.
Cheers, Jay. Thank you, Jay. Nice to meet you.
Come on, you irons, and we'll catch you soon right here on West Ham Unofficial. Cheers, guys, and bye-bye.
Right, cheers.